This episode of the Juvenile Delinquency Podcast is brought to you by knocking over trash cans. Knocking over trash cans, it's like bowling, but smellier.
Welcome to the Juvenile Delinquency Podcast. We're your hosts,
Tiffany
and Chloe. This episode is not about books because
reading is for losers. Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Mom.
Did you just sass me?
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna high-five you because being rude is awesome.
This is no longer the Children's Literature Podcast. We're all done talking about stupid stuff like books and literacy and education. Instead, you're going to hear about fun stuff like burning down animal shelters, hucking rocks at babies, and saying bad words.
What is your favorite bad word?
I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to learning some.
Right on! Now it's time for our crime tip of the week. Crime tip of the week.
Before you go out to do crime, make sure you guzzle lots of drinks with sugar and caffeine so you can really freak out. This will not only scare anybody who interrupts you in the middle of crime, but it can cause enough confusion to help you get away without getting busted. And that's the crime tip of the week.
Crime tip of the week. Do we have any letters from listeners?
Yeah. This one is from listener Mike, who says, "My son has struggled with phonics and is behind other kids in his class when it comes to reading skills. So he often feels discouraged when he can't read something, and then he gives up. Can you recommend some ways to help him?"
This letter obviously came in before we switched over from the Children's Literature Podcast to the Juvenile Delinquency Podcast. Listen, dingus, even if I cared about your parenting problems, and I don't, I wouldn't bother. Your son is obviously smarter than you because he's figured out there's no point in learning to read. Everything you need to know is on YouTube, especially the videos with angry dudes who are really confident in their opinions. Just give him an iPad and he'll be a lot better off than you.
Mom, that was so rude.
Oh, thanks, honey.
And now it's time for our new feature, Top 5 Ways to Kick People. Coming in at number 5, the ankle. This is an unappreciated way to kick people because it really stings and you can make it seem like it was an accident.
Number 4, in the shins. Shin kicking produces excellent, long-lasting bruises.
In the number 3 position, nose. Now, this is a difficult one because you have to be strong enough to do a high kick, but the flair of a nose kick is undeniable.
Number 2, in the stomach. Just make sure you're outside the splash zone in case there's barf.
And holding a firm at number 1, in the bottom. Kicking someone square in the hindquarters is a classic. It will never go out of style. I recommend that when you kick someone where the sun don't shine, that you make sure your boots are nice and dirty, so it leaves a nice footprint. That way the embarrassment can go on long after the kicking is done.
Well, that's enough of that, because it's time for us to go out and yell at some puppies.
Later, losers.
You've been listening to the Juvenile Delinquency Podcast.
Don't bother subscribing, because conformity is for losers.
Don't send us any messages, because we don't care what you think.
We're your hosts,
TQ Townsend
and Chloe Townsend.
Now buzz off! Well, that's enough of that, because it's time for us to go out and yell at some puppies. Well, that's enough of that, because it's time for us to go out and yell at some puppies. Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Mom.
Did you?
I smiled.
Okay.